In recent years, an increasing number of people have been lured into the trap of online gambling, becoming deeply entangled. Millions of South Africans are evidently drawn to this new product, which is effectively dominating their financial focus. According to financial planners Olamera, South Africans have already spent a staggering 1.1 trillion rand on gambling in 2024, an increase of 40% compared to 2023. The latest annual report from the National Gambling Board reveals that online gambling has become the largest contributor to the industry's gross gambling revenue since the COVID-19 pandemic. While casinos accounted for 56% of GGR in 2019-20, their share has now dropped to 36%. Meanwhile, online betting has surged, growing from 26% to 50% over the same period. In 2023, the total GGR reached an astonishing 47.2 billion rand, an increase of over 12 billion rand from the previous year's 34.4 billion rand. This growth was largely driven by online betting, which alone rose by 8 billion rand to exceed 23 billion rand. One of the key forces behind this gambling boom is sports betting, a market that reached 420 billion rand in 2023 and is expected to grow even further in 2024. Globally, sports betting is a rapidly expanding form of entertainment, fueled by the convergence of digital media, gamification, and data-driven personalization. In South Africa, approximately 80% of sports betting occurs online, with wagers placed in just a few clicks on a computer or mobile device. Dominating this space are major gambling brands like Betway and Hollywood Bets, which not only lead online betting but also invest heavily in advertising and sports sponsorships. These companies leverage a mix of technology, entertainment, and strategic marketing to engage users. Their sleek apps use real-time data to personalize the betting experience, keeping players engaged with dynamic features. Bettors can stack and parlay wagers, combining multiple bets into one, making the experience both more exciting and potentially more lucrative for players, while significantly boosting profits for bookmakers. With endless opportunities to innovate and develop new gaming experiences, the industry has attracted the attention of major media companies and sports organizations eager to monetize their assets. Betting firms have successfully integrated gambling into local culture, pouring vast sums into media packages, sponsorships, and influencer partnerships. Influencer marketing is just a fraction of the massive investment these companies are making to dominate the rapidly expanding South African sports betting market. The gambling industry has also made its mark on South African politics. According to the Electoral Commission of South Africa's declarations, online gambling mogul Martin Moshal, the force behind Betway, has donated over 72 million rand to political parties since 2021. His contributions include 43 million rand to John Steenhuisen's DA and 29.5 million rand to Herman Mashaba's Action SA. Meanwhile, betting companies are increasingly securing title sponsorships for major sports leagues, teams, and events. Betway signed a 3-year sponsorship deal worth 900 million rand to become the new title sponsor of the PSL. Betway CEO Lawrence Michel described the agreement as the single largest investment in the history of sport. This is a striking shift, considering the PSL was previously opposed to gambling sponsorships. However, PSL chairperson Irvin Koza stood by the decision, refusing to apologize for the league's change in stance. Today, sports betting companies dominate advertising during major sporting events, sponsor top teams and tournaments, and even hold naming rights for stadiums. A notable new player in the market is SuperSport Bet, a joint venture between Nigerian betting giant Kingmakers and MultiChoice. Launched in January 2024, the platform specifically targets sports fans. MultiChoice has noted that approximately 77% of DStv subscribers actively bet or engage in match predictions, making this a strategic move to position itself as their primary betting platform. Kingmakers has also highlighted Africa as the fastest-growing gambling market in the world, with gross gaming revenue projected to increase by 17% by 2027. This outpaces growth forecasts for Latin America, 13%, and Asia and the Middle East, 7%. When the National Lottery was introduced in 1997, the government anticipated it would become South Africa's dominant form of gambling. To support this, it was granted its own legislation, the National Lotteries Act, 1997, separate from the National Gambling Act, 2004. However, its performance has fallen far short of expectations. The National Gambling Board tasked with monitoring all legal gambling activities in the country under the National Gambling Act No. 7 of 2004, oversees casinos, betting, including horse racing and sports betting, both online and offline, bingo, and limited payout machines across South Africa's provinces. Yet it appears the board did not foresee the disruptive impact that sports betting would have on the industry. The growth of this particular betting sector has skyrocketed since the COVID-19 dip, surging from 326 billion rand to 815 billion rand in just 2 years. For context, Great Britain, with a population of 68 million, recorded a total gambling market of £15.1 billion, 384 billion rand, in 2023, according to the UK Gambling Commission. South Africa, despite having a smaller population of 60 million, has a total gambling market of 815 billion rand, more than double that of Great Britain. This contrast becomes even more striking when considering economic disparities. The GDP per capita in Great Britain is $38,514, 5 times higher than South Africa's $7,507. Yet South Africans are outspending the British in gambling by a significant margin. On a continental scale, South Africans wager more than half of the combined total of all 53 other African nations. If this doesn't highlight the country's deep-rooted gambling culture, nothing will. The consequences of this surge are becoming increasingly apparent. According to the National Gambling Board's NGB, the number of people referred for treatment has doubled in just 2 years, rising from 1,151 in 2021/22 to 2,299 in 2022/23. Additionally, the number of gamblers who voluntarily requested self-exclusion from all gambling platforms has nearly quadrupled over the past 4 years, jumping from 231 in 2019 to 790 in the latest figures. Reports indicate that the digital age, with its easy access to gambling platforms, has created the perfect storm, exposing many to the risks of gambling long before they are prepared to manage them. A recent study found that adults aged 18 to 34 engage in online gambling and sports betting an average of 11 times per month. Among these participants, an alarming 39% reinvest their winnings, while 30% gamble with money they cannot afford to lose. Such behaviors can lead to a cycle of dependency and financial hardship, placing their futures in jeopardy. This highlights the growing concern that online gambling, due to its accessibility, poses an even greater risk of fostering excessive and problematic gambling habits.